Hey kids, Mr. Glenn here. Hope you are well. Now, today we are going to explore a little bit of searching for colour. And what we're going to do is we are going to create our own stylized Hokusai painting. What I mean by stylized is using your own imagination of shape and colour in order to make and build your own Hokusai image. Before we do all that, of course, we have to go and make a color palette so that we know what colors go together nicely and we can have a range of colors and the technical term hues. So let's go and find a online tool to help us make a color palette. So if we go to Adobe Color and we just do a simple search for Adobe Color like this, we can go and grab a thing called Cooler, and this is at color.adobe.com. Okay, so color.adobe.com, we can go into here, we can go and find it, and we don't want to start a new tool. What we're going to do is here. So to make this color, what we want is we've got different styles of color families. So these color families down here on the left hand side, we can go and get analogous. So they are, you can see that analogous is a single color, and as I move these around, you can see that there are colors that complement each other. Okay, and as you move around, you can see that all this palette here that's been made for us, they have values. Okay, so the green behind me is sort of behind my head there. You can see that there's that kind of pale lime green, if you like. It's sort of on the verge of turquoise. Now, you've got a main color here in this palette, which is dead center. This one here with the little arrow, okay, on it is your main color. And I refer to your main color in your art piece later on. But if we go through these monochromatic, you can see that they are so mono means one. So you've got this main color that just moves around, and you can see that you've got these single shades, these single hues of a main color. So all these different shades and stuff. Okay. So as we go through triad, tri means three. So you'll have 3 points on here, and then you can move them in and out. We want to go and have a look. Now, what I quite like is the split complementary and double split complementary for the amount of things that we are going to be working on. Now, the main part of Hokusai is obviously the sea. And the sea being blue, okay, so I'm going to go and grab a sea color. Now, what's going to happen later on is that you are going to be making sort of layers of items on your page, these objects that are on your page that you create. And within those layers, you need to have some kind of complementary, as well as sort of an opposite color. So the color on the wheel is going to have to be this opposite. So you can have this complementary here and double split complementary, this is the one that I quite like because it gives us quite a range of colors to work from. And obviously square that you can find here, you can see that they're quite rigid in the way that they present themselves. But if I go to my double split complementary, which is kind of what I want, because it gives me a range of color to use on my artwork later on, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second. But as you move these in and out, you can see that you've got rather nice pieces of color. The last thing is down here where it says RGB. RGB stands for red, green, blue, and it's what your device is, and everything is pretty much split up into. So when you've got your phone and you've got your color, apart from black and white, which is white is everything, black is nothing, you've got RGB, and inside each pixel on your phone or on your screen or whatever it is you're looking at, you're watching this on right now, each individual pixel is made up of a value of red, green, and blue. And when they're all mixed together, that's what gives us this image. These values have a number in them called a hex value, and hex, like hexagon, is this hex value which is counting. It tells the computer out of 16 million colors. It can tell you what value it is and what color to actually display in here. You can see these go, the highest number is 255 and the lowest number is 0. So 0 is actually counted as a number in this. Okay, so these values go up into different values, and then this hex value here is a combination of all these numbers here. So these will become useful later on, okay, because when we go to create our shapes, you're going to have to use these numbers over and over and over again. So in this lesson, it's going to be super important to get the right color for what it is you're going to do. Okay. All right. So let's go and have a look at what it is we're going to make. And we'll just move on over into your workbook. Okay. And you'll have a workbook that looks a bit like this. Okay. Your actual workbook will look a little bit like this. This is the teacher version, but inside here you'll have your artwork that looks similar. Won't be exactly like this. You'll use different colors and different shapes and what have you. But there are different elements in here, including the typography as well, which is a fancy name for the letters and words that you're going to use down here, okay, as your typography. So your typography is also going to have a style to it as well, according to your own ideas, okay. Here I've used repeating patterns of a blue, a red, an off-white, and then inside here I've used my fourth and fifth colors on my wheel in order to make a complementary style. So it doesn't matter what colors you use, but they have to be, blue is obviously going to have to be a good starting point, okay, if you want your Hokusai painting at the end to stand out, okay. So try and find something that is nice, okay, and flavorful and colorful and suits you and your style, okay. This is unique to you. So before we leave, let's go and have a look at what a good set of colors are and what a not so good set of colors, and what's going to leave you wanting more later on. So here I'm in a complementary, which is just on this line here, and it means that they're too close to each other. They're too narrow in spectrum. Okay, the spectrum of colors, this spectrum from one color to the end, from the beginning to the end, isn't really good enough. You could have a triad, I suppose. You can see that the spectrum is getting wider from this blue to this one. It's actually not bad if you want to stick with that. That's actually not too bad. The sort of pale pink here is quite a nice contrast to the blue, for example, and the yellow. They kind of nicely bounce off each other to the eye. So something that isn't really going to work is this, okay? I mean, if you've got something that is so close to each other, you're really going to have to sort of stretch them out a little bit and get something in here that is going to help you get this spectrum, this palette here, okay, using your individual color and your starting color, your main color, okay? So here we are with my analogous colors. I've got 5 points. This is my main color, okay, so I'm going to use this as my main color. What I'm going to do now is I'm simply going to take a screenshot of it, and because I want to keep my hex codes, I want to keep all my hex codes in here. And then I'm going to save that, and I'm going to go into save mode. So my video will have paused on a silly face, no doubt, and then I've saved my screenshot, which should end up looking like that. So I've got my screenshot done, and then I'm ready to rock and roll for my next part of my workbook. All right, as always, good luck.